You can study English for years, You can read these really long articles with no problem at all.
Right, reading feels completely fine.
Exactly. And you can watch your favorite TV shows and you understand the story perfectly. But then, well, you step into a real conversation.
Yes, the real world.
And someone asks you a slightly complex question, and suddenly you hit this invisible wall. You know the words, but your brain just completely freezes.
Whoa, it is a feeling every language learner knows. And, I mean, it is incredibly frustrating.
So frustrating. Welcome to the deep dive, by the way. Today, our mission is to help you break through that invisible wall.
Yes, we are going to fix that freeze.
Yeah.
We often think in a very simple way. We think, well, I know English or I do not know English.
Right, like a switch.
Exactly. But the reality of speaking in real time is it is much more complicated than just passing a written test.
So true. We are diving into a stack of really fascinating sources today. We have some great cognitive science research papers and detailed notes from top-tier language coaches.
The kind of coaches who help intermediate learners finally unlock true, smooth fluency.
And before we get into the details, I know we want to set a very calm and encouraging tone right from the start.
I really do. I want to tell you, the listener, today is not about working harder. We are not going to ask you to memorize 20 new difficult idioms today.
Oh, thank goodness. I think everyone is happy to hear that.
Right. Today is about simple, practical steps. We want to change how your brain processes language because, you already have the vocabulary inside
Now
you.
we just need to access it.
Exactly. Now we just need to help your brain use it when you're actually talking to someone.
So before we can fix a problem, we have to understand the mechanics of the problem. What is actually happening in our heads when we experience that sudden freeze?
That is the big question. Why is reading so easy, but speaking is so hard?
Right. What is going on in there?
Well, what you are experiencing is something language experts call the internal translator syndrome.
The internal translator. That sounds heavy.
It really is. It happens in a tiny fraction of a second. Imagine someone asks you a question in English. Your brain does not just answer.
It does a bunch of extra work, right?
Yes, it goes through a 4-step process. First, your brain takes that English sentence and translates it into your native language.
Okay, step 1.
Second, you think of your answer in your native language. Third, you translate that answer back into English.
Oh, wow. And then?
And fourth, you finally try to say the words out loud.
That is a lot of extra work for a very simple conversation. You are basically doing the job of 2 people.
Yes, you are. Your brain is acting like a two-way translation machine.
Yeah.
And this process, well, it takes a massive amount of mental energy. It is exhausting.
Think about your computer at home. You have a certain amount of processing power, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it is called RAM.
Right, the short-term memory of the computer.
Exactly. If you open a heavy video editing program and then a heavy video game and 50 internet tabs all at the same time, what happens?
Everything slows down.
You click a button and the screen just freezes. The computer stops working because it is doing too many heavy things at once.
That is a perfect analogy.
Yeah.
Your brain has a limited amount of working memory. When you are translating back and forth like that, you are using almost all of your brain's processing power.
So there is no power left over for anything else.
Exactly. Your mouth literally does not have the energy left to say the words smoothly, so the system freezes.
So if we use that computer analogy again, the goal is not to make the computer translate faster. We do not want to just upgrade the translation software.
No, and that is the brutal truth here. Many learners think, oh, I just need to translate faster. If I practice translating very quickly, I will be fluent.
But that is not true.
Not at all. True fluency, what we call a high C1 level, is not about translating quickly. It is about completely disconnecting that translation bridge in your brain.
Oh, wow.
Yes, you have to remove your native language from the process completely.
So true fluency means the native language bridge is burned. You hear English, you think in English, you speak in English. There is no middle step at all.
Precisely. If your brain is always going back to your native language, well, you will always have a speed limit. You will eventually hit that invisible wall.
So how do we actually burn that bridge? Because honestly, I have tried this.
A lot of people have.
Right. If I sit down and say to myself, okay, I am only going to think in English today, well, my brain hurts after about 5 minutes.
Of course it does.
I get completely mentally exhausted and I just give up.
And you should not feel bad about giving up. Trying to force yourself to think in English for a whole hour is just way too much pressure. Your brain needs time to adjust.
So what is the alternative?
Instead of long hours, our sources suggest using micro habits. We call this first strategy the micro-internal monologue.
A micro-internal monologue. Let's break that down for the listener step by step. Micro means very small. Internal means inside your head. And a monologue is when one person is speaking. So it is a very short speech inside your own head.
Yes, exactly. And the key is you do not try to think about complex topics, no politics or, your deep emotions.
If it's simple.
Keep it very simple. Instead, you describe your immediate physical actions inside your head. You use very simple, continuous sentences, and you only do it for 30 seconds at a time.
Just 30 seconds.
Just 30 seconds, maybe 5 times a day.
Let me paint a picture to give a specific example here. Imagine you are in your kitchen making your morning coffee.
A great everyday situation.
Normally, you might be thinking about your workday in your native language. You are worrying about a big meeting.
Right, your brain is busy.
But instead, for just 30 seconds, you change your inner voice to English. You look at your hands and you think, I am pouring the water, the cup is hot, I'm opening the fridge, I need to grab the milk.
Exactly. Notice how basic those sentences are. There is no difficult grammar there at all.
But wait, let me ask you this. If I'm an intermediate learner trying to reach an advanced level, aren't those sentences too easy?
That is a very common question.
I mean, how does thinking the cup is hot help me become fluent?
It works because it cuts out the middleman. It cuts out your native language. When you hold a hot cup of coffee and think the cup is hot, you are connecting the English words directly to a real physical object.
Oh, I see.
Yes, you are connecting the words to a real physical feeling. You are not connecting the English word to a word in your native language. You are connecting English directly to reality.
That is really fascinating. You are tying the language to the physical world around you.
Yes, and if you do that enough times, your brain just stops needing the translation step. Your brain learns that the English word is the object.
Okay, so internal monologues help rewire how we think about objects. That makes sense. But speaking requires actual physical mouth movement.
It does. It is a physical skill.
You have to interact with another voice. So how do we train the physical act of speaking without triggering that internal translator again?
This brings us to a practice called shadowing. You have probably heard of it.
Shadowing, yes.
Shadowing is when you listen to a native speaker on audio and you repeat what they say right after they say it.
Yes, shadowing is very popular. But honestly, sometimes when people do standard shadowing, they end up sounding a bit like robots.
They really do.
They are just repeating the words mechanically. It sounds flat, and very unnatural.
That is exactly the problem with standard shadowing. Just repeating words does not build true fluency. Our sources emphasize a different approach. They call it shadowing with emotional mimicry.
Emotional mimicry, so copying their emotions perfectly.
Yes. When you repeat after a native speaker, you must not only match their vocabulary, you must match their exact pitch. You must match their stress, their sighs, their laughter, or their hesitation.
Everything they do.
Everything. If the speaker in the audio sounds sarcastic, you must be sarcastic. If they sound angry, you must sound angry.
Let me make sure I understand. If the person in the audio is complaining and says, "Oof, I really do not want to go to the store today." Right. I cannot just politely and quietly say, "I really do not want to go to the store today." I have to actually groan. I have to act it out and say, "Ugh, I really do not want to go to the store today."
Yes. You have to feel it. You have to become an actor for a moment.
I understand how that helps with sounding more natural, but, well, what does emotion have to do with actually remembering vocabulary and grammar?
It is a great question.
Why does acting angry or happy help my brain learn English?
It all comes down to cognitive science. Human memory is anchored in emotion, not logic. When we feel something strongly, our brain saves the memory much deeper.
Oh, wow.
By mimicking the emotion, you are storing the language in a totally different part of your brain. You're moving it away from the thinking area and moving it into your long-term procedural memory.
Procedural memory. Can you explain how that works in simple terms?
Sure. Procedural memory is where your muscle memory lives. It is the part of the brain you use when you learn to ride a bike or, when you learn to tie your shoes.
Okay, physical actions.
Right. When you first learn to tie your shoes, you have to think about every single movement. But after a few years, your hands just do it automatically. You can talk to a friend while tying your shoes.
Because your body just knows the physical procedure.
Exactly. When you attach strong emotion to English phrases, The phrases become like tying your shoes. They become a physical habit. They become automatic.
So you do not have to think about the grammar anymore.
Not at all. It just flows out of you.
That makes total sense. So we have mental monologues to connect words to physical objects, and we have emotional shadowing to build muscle memory.
We're building a great foundation.
But let's take this out of the practice room and into the real world, because things happen. What happens when you are actually talking to a real person, the conversation is flowing nicely, and suddenly, you forget a word.
Ah, yes. The missing word, panic.
I know this feeling so well. You are in the middle of a great sentence, you feel confident, and then there is a blank space in your mind.
Just emptiness.
You need one exact word, and it is totally gone. Usually the person stops mid-sentence, they look up at the ceiling, and they completely freeze while they search their brain for that one specific word.
Yes, and the whole conversation just stops. The energy dies. The other person feels awkward waiting for you. This is what we want to avoid completely.
So what is the solution?
The solution is a concept called circumlocution.
Circumlocution. Okay, that is a big, difficult word for what I hope is a simple idea. Let's make sure we explain this very clearly.
We will break it down. Circumlocution simply means explaining the concept around the word rather than stopping the conversation.
Okay.
You just describe the thing you want to say using other words.
Can you give us a specific example of how this looks in a real conversation?
Of course. Imagine you want to use the word transparent, but you forget the word.
It is gone from my brain.
Right. You do not freeze.
Yeah.
You do not look at the ceiling for 10 seconds. Instead, you immediately explain what transparent means. You say, that material you can see right through, like glass.
So you just describe it. You say you can see right through it instead of transparent.
Yes, it is that simple.
But let me push back on this a little bit. If I am talking to my boss and I am always explaining around words like that, won't that make me sound like I have a small vocabulary?
I hear that worry a lot.
Won't I sound, less intelligent?
That is a very common fear. But I want to reassure you, absolutely not. Conversational momentum is far more important than perfect vocabulary.
Momentum, the forward motion.
Yes. Fluency is not about knowing every single word in the dictionary. Fluency is the ability to never stop the conversation.
So keeping the speed and the flow matters more than finding the perfect word.
Exactly. If you pause for 10 long seconds to remember the word transparent, the energy drops. It feels unnatural.
It gets awkward.
Very awkward. But if you quickly say, "That stuff you can see through," your boss understands instantly. They might even smile and supply the word transparent for you. And the conversation keeps moving smoothly.
I really appreciate that advice. It gives the listener permission to not be perfect. You do not have to be a walking dictionary. Just keep the flow going, say it differently.
Say it differently, exactly.
Okay, so that helps when we are speaking. But what if the problem is not us? What if the problem is other people?
This is a huge challenge because real-world English is rarely slow and perfectly clear.
Let's look at a very common chaotic situation. Imagine you on a video call for work. There are 5 native English speakers on the screen.
A nightmare scenario for some.
They are interrupting each other, they are speaking quickly, they are making jokes. For an intermediate learner, the instinct is to try and catch every single word.
Which is impossible.
Right. If they do that, they fall behind in about 10 seconds. It is completely overwhelming. So how do we survive this chaos?
What is fascinating here is looking at what fluent listeners are actually doing. Fluent listeners do not track every single word in a fast meeting.
They don't.
No. They track the intent of the speaker. And they do this by listening for what we call signpost phrases.
Signpost phrases. Like a physical sign on a road that tells you which way you are going.
Exactly. Think about driving. A road sign tells you a sharp turn is coming before you actually make the turn.
Right. It gives you a warning.
In conversation, people use phrases to tell you where their thoughts are going. For example, phrases like, "having said that," or "to pivot slightly," or "the bottom line is..."
Let's do a quick role play to show how this works. Let's look at the phrase, "having said that." When someone uses that phrase, what does it signal to the brain?
When you hear "having said that," your brain instantly knows that a contrast or a disagreement is coming. Let's try it.
Okay.
Imagine I am talking about a new software project at work. I say, "The new software is very fast and it looks beautiful. Having said that..."
Okay, I can stop you right there. I know a problem is coming. Even before you finish the sentence, I know you are going to say something negative about the software.
Precisely. And even if you miss the difficult vocabulary words I use next, you understand the direction of the conversation.
I see.
You know I'm offering a different opinion or a problem.
That is such a smart way to listen. You are not trying to catch every raindrop in a storm. You are just looking at which way the wind is blowing.
I love that image, yes.
By learning these signpost phrases, you can follow the conversation even if you miss a few specific words.
It reduces the pressure on your brain immensely. You do not have to translate every word. You just follow the signs.
Okay, so catching signposts helps on a clear video call. But what if the audio itself is terrible?
That happens all the time.
Like when I am in a noisy pub or a busy coffee shop with native speakers, there is loud background music, people are laughing, it is just a wall of sound. How can anyone understand anything in that environment?
This raises an important point about how human hearing actually works. I want to share a highly comforting secret from our source material. You ready for this?
I am ready. Lay it on me.
Even native speakers, listening to other native speakers, only hear about 70% of the actual physical sounds in a noisy room.
Wait, really? Are you telling me native speakers do not hear 30% of the words being spoken?
Yes, they do not hear them at all.
So, if I am in a loud cafe with my native speaking friends, they are not hearing every word perfectly either.
No, they are not. The acoustics in a noisy cafe are terrible. The sound waves are actually getting blocked by the music or scrambled by other people talking.
Then how does anyone understand the story being told? I mean, if 30% of the audio is missing, how do they communicate?
They use a mental process called contextual reconstruction.
Contextual reconstruction. Let's explain that simply for the listener. Contextual means the situation around you.
Yes.
Reconstruction means to build something again. So rebuilding the situation.
Exactly. It means that native speakers let their brains fill in the missing audio gaps based on the context of the situation.
Okay.
Your brain is a very powerful guessing machine. Let's use an example. If I'm standing in a bakery, pointing at the food, and I say, I'm going to buy a loaf of, and then a loud truck drives by outside, completely blocking my last word.
Oh, that happens to me all the time.
Right. You did not hear the last word. But what word does your brain automatically guess?
Bread. Your brain guesses the word bread because of the context.
Yeah.
You were at a bakery. You were buying something in a loaf. It has to be bread. Yes. I didn't actually hear the sound bread, but my brain put it there anyway.
Yes, and this is the big difference between an intermediate learner and a fluent speaker in a loud room.
How so?
If an intermediate learner misses a word because of the background noise, they instantly panic. They assume, oh no, my English is bad. I am failing to understand.
But it is not a language failure at all.
No, it is just physics. The sound literally did not reach your ear. A fluent speaker does not panic. If they miss a word, they just let their brain comfortably guess the missing piece based on the topic of conversation.
That is so freeing to hear. If you are in a loud room and you miss a word, forgive yourself.
Yes, be kind to yourself.
It is not your vocabulary level failing you. It is the loud music. Just stay calm and let your brain use the context to guess the meaning. Do not let panic freeze your brain.
Exactly. Knowledge is most valuable when we understand how to apply it calmly.
So, what does this all mean? Let's gently recap the step-by-step transformation we have explored today. How do we break the invisible wall and stop freezing?
We covered some great steps today.
We really did. Step 1, stop translating in your head. Do this by using 30-second micro-monologues. Describe your morning coffee routine directly in English. This connects the words directly to physical reality.
Step 2, shadow native speakers with emotion, not just grammar. Match their laughs, their sighs, their pitch. Be an actor. This moves the language from the thinking part of your brain into your muscle memory.
Step 3, never let a missing word stop you. Use circumlocution. Describe the word you cannot remember. Keep the flow going because conversational flow is more important than perfect vocabulary.
And step 4, in chaotic environments, listen for signpost phrases to understand the direction of the conversation.
Yeah.
And in noisy rooms, forgive yourself. You are not failing. Your brain is just doing what everyone else's brain is doing, guessing the blanks.
This has been such a wonderful deep dive. I hope you, the listener, feel a sense of relief. Fluency is not an impossible mountain. It is just about shifting how you use the tools you already have.
I hope so too. Remember, fluency is not about being a perfect human dictionary. Real conversation is messy. It is dynamic, expressive, and sometimes you make mistakes.
And that is completely fine.
It is. But true fluency is being confident enough to keep trying. Your knowledge is just potential. Taking these small steps and trying them out in the real world, well, that is where the real magic happens.
Fluency is messy. What a great reminder. Now, before we go, I want to leave you with one final thought to explore on your own. It builds on what we just talked about regarding noisy rooms.
Oh, this is a fun one.
Since native speakers only hear 70% of what is said in a loud cafe, think about how much heavy lifting your body language and your facial expressions are doing to fill in those gaps.
That is a wonderful point. Communication is so much more than just sound.
It really is. Next time you sit down to watch a movie or a TV show in English, try watching it without subtitles. But here is the challenge. Do not just listen hard to the words.
What should they do instead?
Watch the actor's hands. Watch their eyes. Look at their posture. Ask yourself, how much of the story are they telling you without making a single sound?
You might be surprised at how much you already understand.
Exactly, just by watching the human being in front of you. Keep practicing, be kind to yourself, and we will catch you on the next one.